Hi, this is David Gilroy and welcome to this talk show where I'm really pleased to be joined by Jed Daly from Vumanity, and Jed's joined me from LA. Hi Jed.
Hi David, I'm glad to join you and welcome to Vumanity.
Great. Well, I'm really looking forward to using this software. I know this is the second time that you and I have spoken, so we're going to talk in more detail about what your product does, and then we'll talk about how we can see that being used to our specialist sector, which is law firms here in the UK. So why don't you go ahead and give me an introduction as to what you think Vumanity is, how you see it working in general.
Well, terrific. Well, what Vumanity does is it takes the audio and visual streams that are generated by video chats, such as one might do on Skype, and it saves those audio video streams on each participant's local hard drive, and then when the conversation is finished, it uploads it where our servers automatically go through and generate a finished talk show format. So it looks exactly like, it looks very much like a professional quality talk show with graphics, with labels, with a background, and all of that can be customized. And
now,
so
on the basis,
go ahead.
On the basis that we're in different countries, I mean, could you do this any other way apart from setting up two studios?
No, you actually can't, and that's one of the geniuses of Vumanity, is that literally anybody, anywhere in the world, who has a laptop and an internet connection can hop on with anyone else anywhere in the world and just do a show. And within just a few minutes of finishing it, you've got a completed show posted to the website that you can then send to Facebook, Twitter, to your own company website, wherever you want it to go.
So do you think that's one of the real key differences with this, that it can be used in a really speedy way in terms of responding to things that are going on, talking about real current awareness topics, literally the minute after they happen?
Yeah, absolutely. We think that there are all kinds of uses, but that's certainly one of them. We think there are a lot of applications for things like newsrooms, TV broadcasts, any kind of a corporate situation where perhaps there's a brewing crisis and they want to get video out and make it look good and sincere in a hurry. So there are all kinds of uses, but the immediate response is a key feature.
Okay, so let's go and talk about law firms in particular. That's the sector that we specialise in. We work with 250 law firms around the UK. I've got three things in my mind that I think law firms could use this application for. The first of all is talking with clients for testimonials about the services they've offered. Secondly, I think it's, as probably we're doing now, talking to subject matter experts. You're the expert, I'm clearly not. And then potentially taking witness statements. So which of those do you think would be most valuable to law firms?
Well, you know, I work with the entertainment law firm community here in LA, and I know that the UK law system is a little bit different than ours, but I quite frankly think that all three could be equally valuable. We've had some conversations with local law firms here about using it for what we call depositions, your witness statements, and there are certainly some instances where that it could be very valuable, saving time, saving money, by just simply remotely connecting in, and the witness's law attorney can be on screen. We can have up to 4 people on screen at any one time, so the witness's law attorney can be on screen participating in the conference as well as the questioning attorney. I think that testimonials, clearly satisfied customers, it's one of your best marketing mechanisms. Certainly the way it works here in the States is that you hire a law firm through recommendations. It's while there are law firms that do advertise here, primarily it's word of mouth, and their testimonials I think would be extremely valuable. And as the world moves more and more towards online video as a way of communicating, I think that Vumanity will be a great tool. And then, as you say, client updates. The law firms here, they all put out monthly newsletters that cover a wide range of subjects. Updating their clients on what's going on in specific areas of the law, and adding a video component to that and an online component to that, I think is a extremely valuable exercise.
And I know from our experience of doing video here in the UK, I think to get a really good video done, it's probably tenfold the price for a Vumanity talk show. So, you know, we've talked about pricing, and people can call me and talk about that, and I think it's just great value. I think the issue with client testimonials also is if you try and get 10 people to your offices and set up a film crew, then that's great, but it's still going to cost you, you know, £2,500 or more. And quite often you can't get those clients together. So you can do this just by plugging a camera in at home, as you say. So
Yeah,
I think the subject matter experts
can save a lot of money and time.
Yeah, I think the subject matter experts is a really key one. Getting people on the phone in a timely way, getting them on camera, and just having somebody talk about a subject they know about in a knowledgeable way, and having something really good to watch online. And we know that the average time, we've just done some benchmarking, Jed, the average time on a law firm's website is 2 minutes. Okay?
Right.
The average YouTube session is 15 minutes. Okay?
Right.
Now, you and I might not be the most exciting presenters in the world, we're not household names, but I would like to think something like this is more engaging than reading these same words off a page and watching it and getting into it in a deeper way than you would with just words. So I think that's a real key use as well.
Absolutely. And, the other thing that it adds is it adds the element of conversation. So, for example, most law firms here in the United States have, say, let's take IP, for example. They will have 4 or 5 or 6 attorneys, all of whom are experts in IP, handling different subsections of it. And so what Vumanity allows is the ability for those 3 or 4 attorneys, for example, to have a conversation. And that just, I think, can be much more effective than having one person, reading one person's words that are been printed out on a page.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. And again, if you try and do that in a multi-camera environment, the traditional way of doing video with, we do one take and then we move the camera, we do the take again. I mean, it's expensive, and I just think most people can't pull it off. So you mentioned that you can do up to 4 people. Was it you could do 4 in one call?
That's correct.
That must get quite tough to, the skill of knowing who's taking over. How does the software take care of knowing who's in control of the conversation, whether it's you or whether it's me, without there being an obvious pause?
Well, it's really interesting. We've got a number of programmers, very brilliant programmers, who have gone through and and spent a lot of time making sure this is right. And what the software does is it analyzes the audio track. And by doing that and by applying some very sophisticated algorithms, it knows, for example, if there's a little bit of crosstalk, but that one person's has kind of maintained control of the conversation throughout, it knows not to cut. Or if there's a sharp noise in the background, it will recognize that, like a phone ringing, exactly. It will know not to cut, or a dog barking, or an ambulance going by, or whatever it might be, an airplane flying overhead. It knows not to cut. It also knows that if it's made a mistake, not to cut back immediately, so that it's in effect like a performer on stage who's made a mistake but doesn't show it and the audience never catches on. The software knows that. And the reason that the software knows all this stuff is that the people who we designed it with were actual TV editors who do this for a living. And so they have rules of thumb and they have ways of practicing, and that's all been built into our algorithms.
Cool. And I must admit, this is only the second time I've used this system, and I have the utmost admiration now for presenters, on UK news shows who are just completely oblivious to the things that are going on around them, and they're just so focused on the camera. Okay, they've got auto cue and we don't. I've got a few post-it notes at the top of my screen here that people can't see, just as Abe Memoirs. But how they don't pay any attention to the people walking around, the guests coming on stage and sitting down, it's just phenomenal. So
I know.
Clearly a system like this takes a bit of practice. I think that's part of the fun. I actually think this can be quite engaging for people. Clearly I'm enjoying it, you can tell, and I think when we go talk to our law firm clients with this, which we'll be doing after today, then I'm really looking forward to it. So Jed, I think I'm just about done over here. Anything else you'd like to add in terms of the service and how it could be used?
Just that we're really excited to be working with you. I think that the legal area is one that represents a place where Vumanity can add a lot of value, and I can't wait to see it roll out.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your time this evening. I'm going to hit the finish button now. We'll talk a bit afterwards and we'll see what this show ends up like. So Jed, appreciate your time. Thanks very much.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.